Yes, somebody. But just you see, video is not.
That's the button they use, the kids. Trying to start the video, but I'm going away because I don't want to be on the picture.
No, there is sound. Lamont.
You haven't got your video.
You want to come onto this computer?
Hello,
it's fine.
Mary.
No,
Hello,
no.
Louis.
It's fine. How are you?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
Well, thanks.
There's Peter as well. Hello, Peter.
All your pictures come with a picture.
This is our private Zoom session with 50 other
Okay.
people.
Listen, have they
No,
given him?
actually,
They got him
actually
in?
64 at this stage of the game.
Continue, Shabbat Shalom.
Hello, Judy. Shabbat Shalom. Nice to see you. How are you?
All right, I'll leave. All right, kisses to all. Shabbat Shalom.
Okay,
Very
thanks. I'm
deep
going to go
Shabbat
and
Shalom.
unmute the situation now. I don't want to talk to
Okay.
everybody. Okay.
What you see? Okay, if you want to leave. Now what's happening? You can hear, hey?
There you are. Now you can see yourself, Mary.
Wait.
Behind your phone. If you move your phone away, you'll see yourself. Behind the phone?
Let me. You can put the suitcase.
Yes, I'm
Oh,
Is that you?
Huh?
Is that very low?
No, that is. Maybe it's going through this.
should me.
Turn your phone.
That's better.
Going through this.
So then maybe just keep your phone. If you move your phone away, what happens? See if you move your phone away. That's so weird.
It's picking it up. Are you, Louis? That's weird, huh?
Yeah, I've lost everybody.
Is it all right if you don't have a lot of soup, though?
Yeah.
They're not ready to do the big thing yet, you see. I was clever and I put it into a way. You try it out and I have. Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Reba.
I see we have an international audience today.
Hello, Rabbi. How are you? See you.
Yes, Hashem. Sounds like the Holy Land is calling. Hi, Monty.
Absolutely. I'm good, thank you, Rabbi. How are you?
Manishma Benatanya.
No, not Natanya. Renana today.
Ranana. Okay. שמעתי שיש לכם ממשלה.
היום
Anyway.
אנחנו נדבר עברית.
Don't
Good to
believe
join you.
everything.
Is the government still standing? Hasn't collapsed yet?
It hasn't been confirmed yet. Still standing. They still have to jump over some hurdles. Not yet there.
Okay, please go on.
Yetz Hashem, let's hope something happens this coming week.
We should hear good news from the Holy Land always.
Amen.
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 Anyway, wishing you all Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom to
Shalom.
Nana.
Thank you. Thank you.
We would have more people from Australia, but it's Shabbos there.
Ja.
Yes, definitely something's happening there when you touch that.
Rabbi Stern, are you here?
I am here, yes.
Oh, okay.
We're just waiting for people to load. And as in the next 2 minutes, we're going to begin because our schedule is tight. So hang in there.
Must be a problem.
You can meet me easily. And this is what I think I'm going to come and see.
Yeah.
Black.
Definitely.
Lisa. No, it's too early.
Monty, Monty.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to open a TV channel where I'm going to teach people how to put on a mask.
No, Clive, sure.
So much media
How you know?
You want to be able to talk? So then you can talk.
Okay. Bruce. Hello, Rabbi.
Hello, hello.
From the Khan family.
Here.
Just hide yourself. That's what that child did. That's how you see
We
it.
haven't got it.
No.
Okay, Rabbi Goldman, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're ready to begin.
Yay.
Means they look at you.
We're going to be muting everybody on the program, and I will just make sure that all our participants right. Okay. Rabbi Goldman, over to you. We do have all participants online, including our guest singer is with us too. Rabbi Perez will be coming on a bit later, but handing over to you, Rabbi Goldman.
So a good Erev Shabbat and a good Chodesh to one and all. And I want to thank Rabbi Stern and Yuri and Daran, who put together a very special, extraordinary program for this week's Kabbalat Shabbat Live in honor of Rosh Chodesh. Today and tomorrow are Rosh Chodesh Iyar, so we thought we'd do something extra special. Every week has been special, but this will be extra special in honor of Shabbat and Shabbat Rosh Chodesh. We will be welcoming very, very special guests from afar, from the Holy Land, Rav Daran, aka Lawrence Perez, who was a very popular head of Yeshiva College and Rav of the Mizrahi Shul in South Africa, did a great job here and was headhunted by International Mizrahi and is today the head honcho of the global Mizrahi movement. doing great work, and we see his publications and we see his speeches and his essays from time to time here in South Africa. And an old friend and colleague who appeared on our Cage adult education programs at Sydenham Shul on a number of occasions over the years, and we had a wonderful friendship and working relationship, and it's very special to be welcoming Rav Daron Perez just now as well. And one of our stars, the music stars of the Jewish world, who we brought to South Africa twice. And we can just see how his career is spiraling and growing exponentially. Yesh Tikva, There Is Hope, was his great international hit. And he's had hits since then. Ivri Anochi, I'm a Hebrew. I's a Hebrew. I'm a Jew, and I'm proud of it. And he is making waves all over the Jewish world, is Benny Friedman, with his music and getting bigger and better all the time. Every album becomes more and more popular. And he's indeed one of the shining lights in the global Jewish world today. So we're going to be welcoming Benny, who's going to very kindly agree to do some singing for us tonight in honor of Shabbat Rosh Chodesh, as we get ready to approach and to receive the Sabbath Queen today. So what is the, who's up first? Yuri.
Yeah,
Yuri
I seem to be on as
Yuri and Daron are with us, and we'll be hearing from Yuri and Daron as well. So are you kicking off the program, Yuri?
Yeah, I'm going to start with Chunaranana, then we'll each of us will do our part when we get to our parts. I'm on a Sid Shul. Rabbi Stern, you're looking for me for some reason. I'm on a Sid Shul. I don't know why, but can you see?
You are part of Sid Shul. You are Sid Shul. You are Sid Shul. There we go.
Okay, cool.
So I encourage one and all, those who are davening along with us, and I encourage you to do so, to pull out your Sidurim and follow along, although we're going to have some different musical parts that are performing with us, but nonetheless, follow along and daven along the Kabbalat Shabbat together with our musical leaders. And please God, it should be an inspirational Kabbalat Shabbat for one and all.
Amen.
And now it's going to be Daron will do Shemot Ismati. And we're going to ask our international singing star sensation Benny to lead us with Moshe Aaron when we Benny, it's all yours. I don't know, I'm looking.
Ay 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 Moshe v'Aharon Choyano U'Shemuel v'Koyrei Shemoy Koyrim El Adonai V'Yanei V'Yamod Onon Yidaber Aleihem Shamru the voice of V'choik nosan elomoy Adonai Eloheinu Eil noisei ha'isol Oh yo 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 yo. Rai memo Adonai Eloheinu. Oy ve ishtachavu. Oy leharikontzoy. Ki kodosh Adonai Eloheinu. I miss my ledavi. Havul Adonai b'nei Elim. Havul Adonai. Kavod voice. Ay. Havul Adonai. Kevod shimoy. Havul Adonai be'adras kavodesh. Kavod Adonai. Alam voim. Hey la koi yirim Adonai voy Almayim Rabim Koi la voy noi Bakoy ay koi la noi behovador Koi la noi shoy veira rozim Bay shabeira noi Estar zei halvonoi Vawai arkideim kemovai hegel Livonoi besir yoim Kemoy venereimim Koi la noi Koi tsevela koi seish ay koi la noi yochil midbar yochil noi midbar kodesh koi la noi yechavoy leila yolois vayachsoy yeorois ovei choloin kula voy Oy America, boy, ya, ma, bam, ay, don't know la mabu, yo, shova, yesheva, doy, melech li yailam, I don't know, is le, yamoy, yitain. Adonai yevorech esamoy basholom.
Yeshikoyach. That was absolutely inspirational and beautiful. And Benny's going to be with us hopefully till the end of the program, where he will sign off with his signature Shalom Aleichem. So again, Yeshikoyach, Benny. And okay, so I'm going to sing. I specially prepared this version of this song, Ona B'Koyach, to the tune of "Close Every Door on Me" from Joseph and his Technicolor coat. And in shul, I can't work. So this is a debut for this, the first time. Ana b'chaya yedoras yamin ta'atir sedu אלוקים, ההרים, רחמים של קוסקו, מנקם, נסיר קודש ברוי, תולכון ההם, עדוס הכל. Rofir geyem liam
Shkoyach, shkoyach. Okay, so up next we have a very special guest and visitor who's not really a guest to South Africa. Rabbi Goldman mentioned that we also have the privilege to have, in addition to Benny Friedman from the United States in New York, America, nice to have representation of Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, of Daron or Lawrence Perez, head of the World Mizrahi movement based in Jerusalem. As we know, Rabbi Perez was a great leader and educator and orator and speaker here in South Africa. Now he's doing great work heading up World Mizrahi based in Jerusalem. We're very honored and privileged to have you with us in our community. You're no stranger, you're no guest. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to ask Rabbi Perez to unmute himself and take over and share with us some words of inspiration as we find ourselves in an important time of the year, coming from Yom HaShoah of this past week, moving into Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut in the coming week. We appreciate words from Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh.
Thank you, Rabbi Yehuda. Can you all hear me?
Loud and clear. Thank you. Loud and clear.
Okay, wonderful. It's a real honor to be with you. Thank you for the warm words of introduction. I indeed feel obviously like at home in South Africa, and of course at Sydenham Shul, which I had the opportunity of being at many, many times. And it's an honor to be with you, with Rabbi Goldman, with Rabbi Yehuda, and with all the wonderful Chazan, and really all of you, and especially at this challenging time where, of course, we are apart physically, but have an opportunity to connect perhaps in ways that we haven't had an opportunity to connect previously. And it's Rosh Chodesh, it's Shabbat, a double Kedusha, and I appreciate the opportunity of sharing some Divrei Torah and Chizuk, especially as we approach Shabbat and Rosh Chodesh Iyar. Of course, this evening is Aleph Iyar, it's the beginning of Iyar. And as Rabbi Yehuda so beautifully mentioned, coming to such a special time, Yom HaZikaron, Yom HaAtzmaut, if you actually think about it, it's really a month of the connected to the modern day Geula. The month of course, the month of Adar is the month of Purim, always 30 days before Pesach, our main Geula from Mitzrayim. So both the month of Nisan and before that Adar, Nisan, special months of Geula. It had been privileged in the modern era that such significant things for the Jewish people have happened in Iyar, on Hey Iyar, which we're going to have this Wednesday and Thursday. We know the establishment of the State of Israel 72 years ago. And of course, on Kafchet Iyar, the 28th of Iyar, Yom Yerushalayim, the reunification in Jerusalem. So Iyar has become a month as we climb up to the Omer and count the 15 days of the Omer, count to our Sinai. How privileged we are that these days of Iyar have been reclaimed as days of significant moves forward for Klal Yisrael. And I really want to share something, an idea and a story, an idea about Kabbalat Shabbat that we're all going to say together, that I must be honest, I only understood a number of years ago. And I want to share it with you what Israel means to me and what I think that Israel means for us around Kabbalat Shabbat, Lecha Dodi, an insight into Lecha Dodi, and hence what I feel Israel means for us today. You know, a number of years ago, I was saying Lecha Dodi, and all of a sudden, I started thinking about what I was saying. You know, it sometimes happens. We actually think about what we're saying in the davening, and all of a sudden, I didn't understand. I said, what has Lecha Dodi got to do with Shabbat? I all of a sudden realized that 2/3 of the song has got nothing to do with Shabbat. You know, we sing Lecha Dodi, and you hear it so beautifully from the Chazan and the choir. L'chadudi likrat kala, Shabbat pnei Shabbat nekabla. Let's go sing, my beloved, and let's go and accept Shabbat. So yes, the chorus that we say 9 times, of course, that's got everything to do with Shabbat, but only the first, there's 9 stanzas in L'chadudi. Only 3 have got anything to do with Shabbos. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, of course, has got to do with Shabbat. The second one, likrat Shabbat l'chu v'nelcha, has got to do with Shabbat. The last one, boy b'shalom ateret bala, has got to do with Shabbos. But here are 6 in the middle that have got absolutely nothing to do with Shabbat, not even hinted. All they speak about is Yerushalayim, the Jewish people, the future Geula, Mikdash, Melech, Ir Melucha, Kumitzi mitoch hafecha. All of a sudden, in the middle of the song, we say that the temple of Hashem, the temple in Yerushalayim, the city of kingship. Kumitzi mitoch hafecha, Yerushalayim, take off your sackcloth. Rav la shevet b'emek habacha, Yerushalayim, you've been sitting in mourning for too long. Hashem, v'hu yachmol aleichem, Hashem will have mercy. Hit na'ari me'afar kumi, we say Yerushalayim, get rid of your clothing. Take off your sackcloth. Livshi bigdei tifartech ami. Listen to this. Take off your sackcloth. Livshi bigdei tifartech ami. Jerusalem, put on your clothes. What are the clothes of Yerushalayim? How does Yerushalayim adorn herself? Tifartech ami, with your people. When the Jewish people return to Yerushalayim and to Tzion and to Eretz Yisrael, your tiferet, your splendor has returned. And how will that happen? Al yadei ben isha, etc. Hitori, wake up, Yerushalayim. Lo teboshi, lo tikami. You start reading this, all of a sudden I realize, hang on. This song was written about 450 years ago by the great Rabbi Shlomo El-Kabetz in Tzfat. And in his mind's eye, 450 years ago, he's speaking about Shabbat. And he's got this vision about Shabbat, but only 1/3 has got to do with Shabbos. He's dreaming about Jerusalem. He's dreaming about the Jewish people. He's dreaming about Eretz Yisrael. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, what is the song? Why is the song about Shabbat, the song that we sing so beautifully and is accepted by all communities around the world to bring in the Shabbos? Why has so little of it got to do with Shabbat? And here's what I want to share with you, the idea of what Israel means to me. You see, what Shabbat means to the individual Jew, does the Geula and the return to Eretz Yisrael mean to the collective Jew? What does Shabbat mean to the individual Jew throughout our exile? No matter how forlorn we were, no matter how much persecution there was, no matter where we were, a Jew knew once a week, yes, we may have employees very hard. We may be part of a production line, but we are not a nameless cog in a production wheel. We are not people who are owned by others. Once every week, what would Jews around the world do incredibly? We would get dressed in our best clothes. We would stop working. We say we only have one employee, and it's the Ribono Shel Olam, and we don't work for anybody. As they say in Hebrew, "Anachnu lo ovdim etzel af echad." We don't work for anyone. We're under Hashem's guidance. And what would Am I back? I think I got lost. Am I back? Rav Goldman, nice to see you. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, you're back now. You're speaking about the Shabbos clothing.
Yes. So what happens every Shabbos? We get dressed in our Shabbos clothes and we announce to the world, we are free and we are dignified. We get dressed up as if we're about to meet the king. We buy food that we slav dagim, the best of food that we couldn't afford during the week. And every Jew, wherever they were in the world, once a week declared, we are free, we are liberated, we are independent, and we are dignified. We are not under anybody's aegis. We're not the servant and slave of anybody. We are under Hashem. That's what Shabbat meant for the individual Jew. This is what Israel, the return to Israel, and the return to independence means for the collective Jews. For the first time in almost 2,000 years, the Jewish people have an independent state. We are a free people in our own country to build a Jewish state with all of the challenges that come with it. We're a people who can once again have our flag flown amongst the nations of the world. We are a people of dignity. We are a dignified, free, sovereign, independent people, counted amongst the nations of the world, free, Be'ezrat Hashem, to be under Hashem's aegis, which we hope and pray for, as a free people, to be able to serve Hashem as free people. And therefore, Rabbi Shlomo El-Kabetz, when he wrote these beautiful words in Tzfat, was seeing as he came to accept the Shabbos with such kingship and splendor and beauty and freedom and dignity. Am I back?
back.
Okay,
You're now
okay.
back. Yes, you're now back.
Okay, all right. He saw in his mind's eye, just as on Shabbat we are free and independent and reclaim our freedom and dignity, no matter what happens during the week, so too in his collective eye for the future of the Jewish people, there'll be a time we will return. Livshi bigdei tifatei chami, where Tzion and Yerushalayim will have her children returning. Ir melucha, return to the city of kingship, and the Jewish people will be free once again to build themselves. And I just want to end with two thoughts. Two thoughts. In Israel, there was a well-known Hasidic Rebbe who lived in Tel Aviv called the Sadigur Rebbe. And how did I know the Sadigur Rebbe? Because what I used to do, my late grandparents, Louis and Minnie Geselter, lived in Tel Aviv. And when I came to Yeshiva and I was in Bein Zmanim in the holidays, before my parents made Aliyah, I would stay at them and I used to go and daven at the Sadigur Rebbe's shul. And there's a story that they used to tell about the Sadigur Rebbe. This story written called Alei Tamar, written by Tamar of one of Tel Aviv. He wrote an amazing commentary in the Talmud Yerushalmi, and he mentions the following story, and this I heard from the Hasidim at the Sadigur Rebbe shul. The Sadigur Rebbe had an unusual custom that every Yom HaAtzmaut at 3 o'clock in the morning, he would wake up early, he would put a flag of Israel outside his little shul in Tel Aviv, and he would sweep the streets in front of the shul. And his Hasidim came to his Rebbe, what are you doing? The Rebbe is sweeping the streets of the shul in Tel Aviv, putting up an Israeli flag. Am I back?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay, good. So I was with a Sadigur Rebbe, yeah. So he said, he said, let me tell you, he said, when I found myself during the war in Vienna, and because I was one of the leaders of the community, the Nazis called me in every morning. They would make me raise the Nazi flag. They would spit on me and make me sweep the streets in front of the Nazi building. And I remember saying to myself that if I survive this and make it to Eretz Yisrael, I will sweep the streets of Tel Aviv as a free and dignified person. And he said, since then, every Yom HaAtzmaut, he said, I put a flag of Israel up to remind me of what the flag that I used to be despised under, and sweep the streets of Hashem's land to give something back. And this is a famous story of the Sadigur Rebbe, meaning that's what having a free, independent Israel means. It's a sense of dignity, a sense of freedom. And I want to end and say that this has been, perhaps one of the greatest shifts in the last 2,000 years, how we have been a people when we have been a powerless people politically. Boy, oh boy, has the blood of the Jewish people flown. Like Rav Soloveitchik says in Kol Dodi the Fake, he says, one of the great things of Israel, he says, before there was a state of Israel, in the famous words of Rav Soloveitchik, he says the world got used to the idea of Dam Yehudi Hefker, Jewish blood is free. Jewish blood can be spilled, says Rav Soloveitchik, any impunity. He said that did the blood flow, the destruction of the temple, to the Bar Kokhba rebellion. It flowed through the Crusades and the Inquisitions and the pogromim and the Shoah. Boy, oh boy, did Jewish blood flow, and there was nobody to hold anybody accountable on this world for Jewish blood flowing. But then he says, what happens with the state of Israel? Jewish blood is no longer cheap. Yes, you can still, God forbid,
Let's just wait a second here. Abdaron, you there?
Yeah, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Not sure, are we struggling with the connection, but we're almost there. So says Rav Soloveitchik, he said, now that we have our own country, he says, yes, Jewish blood can still be spilt, but now there is a force on earth, there is a country, a security mechanism, an economy to do everything it can to support Jews anywhere in the world. We all know that in 1976, when Jews and Israelis and Jews were caught in Entebbe, and the dictator there said, what he's going to do to them and what his terms were. We know that there was a force on Hashem's earth of the best and brightest, which would do anything and everything to save those Jews in a forlorn place in Africa. Even if Yoni Netanyahu, the leader Sayed Matkal, had to give up his life for Jews that he did not know, that's the responsibility of the state of Israel today. I remember in the times of the difficult times when there was discussion in South Africa, I was still in Israel, but I remember the discussions of the time of the democratic transition, where there were concerns, what would be for the whites, what would be for the Jews. We all know that had there been any problems, there were plans made in Israel. Had there been any problems with the Jewish community in South Africa and for that place anywhere in the world, there would have been a plane with a little Magen David on, might have been a bit squashed. People might have complained a little bit about the service, but there would have been a plane which would not have made any financial cheshbon and any other cheshbon and come to bring the Jewish people, to save the Jewish people and bring them back. That is what has changed, says Rav Soloveitchik. One of the great things is that since there is a state of Israel, Dam Yehudi Eino Hefker, Jewish blood is no longer cheap. There is now a sense of freedom, a sense of dignity for Jews all over the world. And I think that's what the Jewish people have been zocher to for the last 72 years. Yes, Israel is not perfect, and the situation of the Jewish people is far from perfect. There's a long way to go. But to live in an era of Jewish sovereignty, and live in an era where we say, Ir mulucha, kumitzi mitochafecha, that Jerusalem is surrounded by her children with hundreds of thousands. Today, Jerusalem is the biggest, a large Jewish population in Israel. And Yerushalayim is surrounded by her children. She has adorned herself once again. When we live in such an era of an independent country, a sovereign people, today the largest Jewish community in the world, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, as Rabbi Yehuda was saying, hearing words from Yerushalayim, a sense of arvut hadadit, collegiality and responsibility one for the other. That is what the state of Israel is. So may we be on this Rosh Chodesh, as we sing L'chad Odi, going to the month of Iyar, appreciate even more the privilege of having the state of Israel today, having so many Jews in Israel, having our heart of the Jewish people there again, having the flag of Israel being flown with such freedom and dignity, to stand up proud, to stand up with freedom and dignity. And just like a Jew gets dressed in their best and feels as a free, independent person every Shabbat, so too may it also be us appreciating what it means to be part of the collective destiny of the Jewish people with a free, independent, and dignified state of Israel. Thank you for the honor, and Shabbat Shalom, Chodesh Tov.
Amen. Amen. V'amen. Yashikayach, Rav Lawrence. Thank you, Rav Doron. Thank you very much. And we're going to wish you a Shabbat Shalom. You're more than welcome to stick around with us. Yudi's going to lead us with L'chadoidi now. And Tov L'hodot LaHashem. And Benny's with us. He'll conclude with a Shalom Aleichem in the next few minutes, just before we knock off, we knock off and we say Shabbat Shalom. Over to Yudi.
I just have to say very quickly, Rabbi Perez, I mean, we're a very lucky shul. A lot of shul don't get you at all to speak, and you've visited us 6 times in the last hour, so yashakach.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Pene Shabbos nekabela lechadai dili galgala v'nei nekabela shomer v'zacher v'diborecha dishmiyanu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shem ol tiferet Veli sila ya ya lechadai dili galgala Pene Shabbos nekabela lechadai dili galgala v'nei Shabbos nekabela Likra HaShabbos lechu v'nelcha Ki makor ha-beracha Merosh mikedem nesucha Saif Maaseh V'machshavot echila Ya lechadai dili galgala Pene Shabbos nekabela lechadai dili galgala Pene Shabbos nekabela Migdash melech ir melucha Kol mitzei mitay chafecha Shevet v'yemek yachamol alayichem lo ay lechadai dili galgala Pene Shabbos nekabela lechadai dili galgala Pene Shabbos nekabela His nari meya farkomi, meya farkomi. Live she big, the fire say chami, the chami. Alya ben Yishai ben Salachmi, ben Salachmi, korba el nashi. Lechadai di gala ben yavas negabila. Lechadai di gala ben yavas negabila. Sayrari, sayrari, sayrari. Ki vaire komi airi. Ori, ori, shidabeiri, shidabeiri. Ki vaina daina, alayik niglai, ay, ay, lechadai di nigangala. Penashavas negavila, lechadai di nigangala, penashavas nekavila. Lai say vai shivalo, vai she call me, vai she call me. Mati sechaki o matemi, o matemi. Bawag yakaswani ami, ani ami, venibne sa'ir. Altila ay 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 lechadai di negangala, penishabas nekavila, lechadai di negangala, penishabas nekavila. Okay, we're going to sing Tov L'Hodeis, and then after we've sung Tov L'Hodeis, we will end up with Benny singing Shalom Aleichem. So, everyone together. I could see people were swaying. That's how I can see people are joining in. So, if you feel like swaying, or if you don't feel like swaying, anyways. Tov L'Hodeis L'Hashem. Tov L'Hodeis L'Hashem. Ulezamer l'Shemcha Elyon. Tov L'Hodeis L'Hashem. Ay, ay, ay. L'Hagid b'boker chazdecha. L'Hagid b'boker chazdecha. V'yemunascha b'leilos. V'yemunascha b'leilos. Tov L'Hodeis L'Hashem.
Yuri, can I suggest that Benny comes on now, Yuri?
Nikohoy lo ismaim rab madir mishpere yom adir b'amoroi madrinoy eidoy sechonem no miyoid leveis chana avokoidesh adeno boili oirech yomim. Shabbat shalom to everybody, and now it's over to Benny for Shalom Aleichem, or maybe it says Shalom.
Shalom Aleichem Malachei Ashuris Malachei Oy Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei HaMelochim Malchei HaMelochim HaKodesh HaKodesh Baruch Hu Hay Boyachem L'Sholom Malachei Asholom Malachei Oy Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei Hey Melochim, Malchei Melochim, HaKodesh, HaKodesh Baruch Hu. Hay Baruchuni L'Sholom Malachei, Asholom Malachei, Hoy Malachei Elyon. Mimelech Malchei Melochim, Malchei Melochim, HaKodesh, HaKodesh Baruch Hu. Tzeischem L'Sholom Malachei, Asholom Malachei. Hoy malachei Elyon, mi melech malchei hamelochim, malchei hamelochim HaKodesh, HaKodesh Baruch Hu. Mi melech malchei hamelochim, malchei hamelochim HaKodesh, HaKodesh Baruch Hu. It's Shabbos.
It's Shabbos.
Rabbi Goldman, are you there? Over to you. Hold on. Go ahead.
Shkoyach, everybody. This was a great privilege. Thank you to Rabbi Stern and Yuri and the Run for organizing this, and to our special overseas guests, Rabbi Ron Perez from Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh, to Benny Friedman from New York, Ir HaKodesh, and it's it's wonderful, very, very special indeed, and a beautiful introduction to Shabbat and to Shabbat Rosh Chodesh. Just to remind everybody, it's still Rosh Chodesh tomorrow, Ya'aleh V'Yoveh tonight. Tomorrow a special Musaf, Ata Yitzarta. Make sure you take out 2 Torahs from your lounge tomorrow, eh? And a special Haftorah and chapter 2 of Pirkei Avot, and don't forget to count the Omer every night. Wonderful to connect and reconnect, and wonderful to see how many people we had today. We had well over 200 people, about close to 250 people.
Rabbi Goldman, that's profiles. There are many doubles on the screen.
Right. So let's say we had 500 people. Okay, that's like a good Shabbos at Sidnim Shul. Okay. Wonderful, everybody. Yasher koach, toda rabah, v'hatzlacha, Shabbat shalom, Chodesh tov. God bless you all.
You can unmute yourselves on your way out.
Shalom, rabbis.
Thanks, rabbis. Have a good
Thank you,
Shabbat.
Rabbi. Shalom. Thank you. Shabbat shalom. Kodesh tov.
Thank you. Shalom. Candle lighting. Thank you.
Candle lighting now.
Ronnie Kaplan,
Time to light candles,
will you say
everyone.
Kaddish? Ronnie, Ronnie Kaplan,
Now it's Shabbos candle lighting time.
did you hear me?
We're going to end the meeting
Shabbos,
now.
everyone. Thank
Shabbos
you.
to one and all. Good Shabbos.